Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Inhumans, Once and Future Kings. Now, this is issue number 1, and I actually thought this was just going to be a one-shot, and I hate when one-shots put issue number 1. No, issue number only. How about that? Anyway, so this actually is going to be a continuing series, and no complaints, guys. Let me just give you a heads up, all right? The Unspoken, all right? You guys remember the Unspoken from fairly recent comics and all that good stuff, plus Avengers, Unspoken? He actually has a name here. He was the Unspoken because his name was supposed to be Unspoken, but here they actually have it. Decamus, it's supposed to be. Anyway, so Black Bolt and Maximus, younger teenagers, are hanging out with King Decamus, probably Camus, whatever. Anyway, he's corrupt. He's corrupt, man, from beginning to the end, all the way through. So Black Bolt has a conversation with him, but, you know, obviously through Maximus the Mad, he's got his mental, his telepathy thing, so he's speaking through him. And he's talking about the moral theory on slavery, which is really good. And it talks about stripping the good from people. Pretty deep stuff. Anyways, there's an attempt on the king's life, and Black Bolt winds up saving the day. Read it. It's really good, the way they do it. No doubt. So what do we have here? The, what's her name? Medusa is actually mentioned at one point, and this brings the king to take attention, to take notice of her. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite go in a good way. In the meantime, the king is actually preparing to eliminate Black Bolt because he realizes that he's smart. Maximus the Mad too, just for the sake of conversation. Yeah, I do believe that Priest is going to wind up killing this because it's absolutely amazing. This is, guys, let me just let me just try and tear into this really quick. The Seeker shows up, all right? If you guys remember the Seeker from way back in the beginning, those Fantastic Four comics where they introduced the Inhumans, the Seeker is actually trying to bribe Medusa, and she's not having it, and she just tears into him, something fierce, tears through his guards, goes after Black Bolt and Maximus, and like, all right, well, let's get out of here. And the lead insurrectionist, who appears to be an alpha primitive, if you guys know anything about these guys, seems to be an alpha primitive. He rescues all three of them, plus Lockjaw. Uses Lockjaw to rescue them. So that's just to see how they get involved in it is awesome. And they show up in Times Square. So, wow. Maybe this is one of the reasons why Black Bolt didn't have a problem with exposing the Inhumans to the rest of humanity. Guys, this is also at the very end, there's a Lockjaw and Thing story, an extra story on there, and just absolutely such a great little couple-page story, just too funny, way too funny. And yes, I will tell you, the physics on that are actually, they're very good. I do believe that would absolutely work. I'm going to give this comic an A. I'm going to give this an absolute A, hands down. So far, as crappy as the trailers, and more specifically the FX look, I don't know what the story is sounding like at all, but for the Inhumans that is supposed to show up in IMAX on September 1st, and then the 29th on ABC TV, also in September, they look crappy, they look terrible. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible. Just reading the comments. I'm not happy with the way that's looking, and the graphics look horrible. But what I am going to say hands down is that if the story is half as good as this story is in the comics, holy crap, we're in for a hell of a run. And I'm talking about going to season 2, 3, 18, whatever, because this is really, really good. So yeah, that's really like, I mean, like, legitimately, guys, I'm gonna put myself out there and say this: if the story in the Inhumans TV show and IMAX showing that shows up, if that story is as good as this story, Once and Future Kings, I think I've got my replacement for Game of Thrones when that goes off the air. I have spoken. Anyway, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.